Do I really want to work 5 more years in America so that I can live at this standard? Or I could bail 5 years earlier, even 10 years earlier, and live somewhere else. It keeps a lot of the backpacker circuit off of it because it's so easy to hit Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand on that kind of, you know, that month or 2-month circuit. And that's awesome. But getting around the Philippines, it's a bunch of islands.
So this is Dan of Vagabond Awake, and today I'm delighted to have a new friend on the channel. Eric, welcome to the channel.
Thank you.
It's great.
Pleasure to be here.
It's great to have you here. So Eric, where are you from in the world? What country? And where are we sitting right now?
I grew up in Oregon, left when I was 25 and bounced around a little bit. And now we're in the Philippines, Roxas City.
Roxas City in the Philippines, yeah.
Yep.
And so how long have you lived in the Philippines? And what is it about Roxas City in the Philippines that made you think, hey, let's settle down here, build a life, have a family?
It's kind of multi-layered because, number one, a lot of us end up wherever our lady is.
Yeah.
Whoever we meet.
Yeah.
But there's also, in the Philippines, they also have the one island rule that a lot of people move one island away.
Okay.
So that you don't have the responsibilities of being near the family.
Okay.
We choose to completely ignore that. The family lives about 20 kilometers away and there's other family members here, but that's why we ended up basically in Roxas for support. Because I'm a merchant mariner, I'm gone 6 months of the year, there needs to be support. You need a Nantucket wife, you need a woman that's going to be able to call up the plumber, run the show, and then when you come home, it's sort of, you just sit back and kind of ease back into life. But I really wanted support. If we were going to have children, then we wanted to be able to have people here that could help her take care of things, and that's, the Philippines is amazing for that. There's so many different people helping, sisters, brothers, everybody, mothers, and everybody helps. So, yeah.
That's great. So you mentioned you married a Filipina, you've had 2 kids, you're an empty nester now. You and your wife also started a business together. What sort of business have you started?
Beer. I broke the rule. The main expat rule, don't get involved in politics, don't get involved in business, and life is good.
Yeah.
And so opening the brewery, again, if we were to rewind, we might think twice about whether to do it or not. But it's actually turned into a really cool experience, particularly for my wife, who is, you know, super involved with the kids, everything coming up through that. Now I really do not like running around doing the bureaucracy. I like to be in the low end grunt. In a restaurant, when I was growing up, I would cook, I would prep, but I hated waiting tables.
Yeah.
So here it's that same deal. I'm the brewer in the background, and then I'm the geek up in the office trying to see if we're making any money or not.
Right.
But she's doing the day-to-day interface. She's much better with customers than I am, unless we're having beer. And she's doing the meet and greet you have to do around town with government officials, etc. So it's, for better or worse, sort of filling that void that the children had. And I never thought, I was pretty naive going into this. I didn't think it was going to take so much hands-on. I thought you could brew beer, have a couple of beers, you know, at 4 or 5 o'clock, and then go home. And that's just not the reality. And in small business, that's not a reality. You have to, for the first 5 years, you gotta put your blood, sweat, and tears in. So,
especially those first 5.
Yeah.
Having lived in the Philippines for so long, you have a unique understanding of local life and culture here. How is this different from the U.S. in a general sense? How does it feel different to you?
Could be. I mean, we talked about this a little bit before, that it's almost like the U.S. was 40 or 50 years ago, as far as things like when I would have never dreamed, when I was 6 years old and jumping my BMX bike off onto a field. I mean, there is absolutely no way in the United States you would dream of doing that. And if you did, you would be swaddled in arm gear and knee pads, and there would be 8 people with a GoPro. And instead, we were just hucking our bikes off of everything that we could do. And that is changing here very quickly. But for my children to grow up, I felt like they were growing up in something that is gone in the United States now. And so It's hard for me. Sometimes I love going back to the United States. I love my trips back there. But it's just catered, it's curated. See friends, see family, hit the road, go to the national parks.
Yeah.
And then we're home after 3 or 4 weeks. I'm over it.
Yeah.
Because this is home. I really like the United States, but this is home. So, and I've been gone so long after living in Hawaii for 10 years and here 15, that the United States feels more like a foreign country to me than the Philippines does. So it's sort of a hard question for me to answer now because I haven't done day-to-day United States life in so long.
Yeah. If you know, what does an average local family spend to live in the Philippines versus an average retired expat spends per month to live here? And feel free to answer in ranges if you don't have any specifics in mind.
Yeah, I mean, number one, I'm really crappy with numbers.
Okay.
But I will tell you, I mean, the median income for most families is 300 pesos a day. And that's sort of it's less than $10 a day. So it really depends. You have there is more of a middle class population here than a lot of other Southeast Asian countries.
Right.
But you still have very have-nots and then the heavy hitters that have a lot. So better wage in Manila, but a higher cost of living. But obviously that your wages and the standard of living is going to be more. So your average expat is definitely going to be living much higher on the hog. Even if they are at, the average family, if they're making less than $10 a day, that tells you right there. And your average expat can't live on that unless you're really, really willing to eat the local diet. It's completely possible. And particularly if you stay out of the big cities, it's absolutely possible. But you have to be in it to win it. And you can't cry when you get here that it's not possible. But that said, I go back to America now, and both my wife and I are completely shocked by the prices that are there.
Yeah.
Inflation is here as well, but when we go back there, it's amazing and how big servings are. And so
of course.
You can live to whatever standard you want here. You can live very simply. In the province, I know guys that are way out in the middle of nowhere, and they're happy as a pig. And then there's other people that need to be in BGC or Cebu with malls around and access to restaurants. There are people that die for steak. If they don't have steak, life is over.
Yeah.
I'm okay with chicken and pork and a little bit of bongos. So it really depends.
Answer this question for me. Don't come to the Philippines if you think it's going to be
like home. If you're looking to replicate, if you're just looking for a white beach and you think it's going to be like Hawaii, or you think that it's going to be cheaper, or you're looking to run away or escape, the problem with all those things is that you're still stuck with whoever you are. No matter, you really have to find out why do you want to leave? What is that mechanism? What do you want to do about that? So I would say don't come here if you can't deal with the culture. There's a lot of expats that get here and after a few years become very bitter and a little bit jaded, and you think, nobody put a gun to your head, man. All you got to do is look out on the street and see people that are living a much worse, much harder life than you are, and you have to respect that. You are in a foreign culture, you're in a foreign country, you have to respect their foreign laws, and if you are not willing to do that, and offline, we all have our bullshit sessions and our problems, but still, at the end of the day, you live in a foreign country, it's their rules, it's their game, and you have to deal with it. So don't come if you can't do that.
Yeah. If you're not adaptable.
And if you can't figure out how to use bum gun. You'll have to explain that later.
Maybe you explain that.
So do come to the Philippines if you're looking for...
I would say come to the Philippines if you are... if you are looking at your budget and you're thinking, you know what, if I have this amount of money and life is, do I really want to work 5 more years in America so that I can live at this standard? Or I could bail 5 years earlier, even 10 years earlier, and live somewhere else. And that might be, for some people, it might be Thailand. For another person, it might be Ecuador. For me and the people I hang out with, it's the Philippines. But come to the Philippines if you're looking for a challenge, you know, and if you are happy with culture, you know, I mean, if you're willing to kind of think outside the box and you're willing to deal with the heat, it's hot. I don't have aircon, and we have aircon now because of the brewery in certain places, but my office on the 3rd floor does not have an aircon. Bedroom doesn't have aircon. So come to the Philippines if you're willing to adapt and travel. That the neat thing about the Philippines is that it keeps a lot of the backpacker circuit off. It keeps a lot of the backpacker circuit off of it because it's so easy to hit Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand on that kind of, you know, that month or 2-month circuit, and that's awesome. But getting around the Philippines, it's a bunch of islands. Yeah. And the buses are slow. They're not on time. You don't even know if there's a schedule. Yeah. But if you look at the map, in the old days before, when I first moved here, there was no, Google Maps was in its infancy, and we were still reading the map. I mean, we're still like, and my wife couldn't read a map to save her soul. So I'm trying to drive in a new country, figuring out how to stay on the road and read a map at the same time. But we would just look, there's probably, especially coming from Hawaii, we're like, hey, I really missed being able to road trip. And I looked at it, my kids are young, hey, let's see where we can go. And it was like, there should be a ferry there, and there would be. Sometimes you got to wait a day or two for it. But that was fun. I mean, that was, it was kind of exciting, adventure. And now with the internet, you know, the translation apps are amazing. The mapping is amazing. But shit is still going to happen. And to fly around this country, you got to go from here to Manila, stay 4 or 5 hours, 10 hours in one of the worst airports in the entire world, and then you got to fly somewhere else. And the same thing if you can do a little bit from Cebu, but it's just easier to get on and travel. And if you're willing to do that, then that's amazing. That's fun. But if you're looking for a little bit more curated experience of trains and real timetables and stuff that's accurate online, then you're going to be very frustrated here.
Do you feel safe in the Philippines?
This free ebook shares everything I've learned about remaining safe living overseas for the last 18 years. To get a free copy, either scan this QR code with your smartphone or click the second link in the notes below this YouTube video.
Do you feel safe in the Philippines?
Absolutely. I feel safer here than parts of my old hometown now. You can't be stupid. I keep my wallet in my front pocket, but I've been doing that for 40 years. So there's a big bicycle club here. When I moved here, everybody was on mountain bikes, and I had come off a road bike doing a lot of triathlon stuff in Hawaii. So I started riding mountain bikes, and then we started segueing into triathlon. When I moved here, there was one Ironman, and now there's 6 or 7 guys that have all done Ironman, an Ironman distance. And so the culture is finally, there's people that are, in the old days when I moved here, nobody wanted to sweat. They would ride a bicycle as slowly as possible because you didn't want to sweat. And now that's changed, particularly with COVID now. I mean, there was the middle-aged group like me that were doing stuff, trying to challenge themselves. But then during COVID, a lot of young kids started riding. You saw it in Manila, you saw it here, and of course, they don't want to be like us, so they're on fixies and they're doing all kinds of crazy stuff. But there's a lot more people are riding now. So for me, that would be the other thing. If you're going to move away, you got to find a way to stay in shape. I mean, you can drink beer all day, but your shelf life is not going. I've tried it, and your shelf life is not going to be very long. So you need something that's going to be active, whether it's walking or doing whatever. But for me, I've got a very nice road bike upstairs that you could buy 2 or 3 of my motorcycles over there for. But that's my jam. Is that I used to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Now with the pub, that doesn't work. So now usually about 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I head out and do a little loop. But,
Very nice.
and the wind sports here is amazing. I really miss surfing from Hawaii. Did a little bit of kiting. Unfortunately, Roxas is kind of marginal, whereas over on Negros, much better at kiting for certain conditions. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's the idea especially when I worked on the ship, was always work out like a madman on a ship. So when you were home, you could play.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
could do the cool stuff. You could do 100-mile ride out in the hills here and do stuff that gets you out. That really tough here if you move here as an expat. And if you make it for the first 3 years, you'll probably make it overall. But you gotta do something that keeps you active. And
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to ride 100 miles, but you got to do something that gets you out of the house.
Yeah, totally.
Otherwise, you're just sitting on the internet and just your mental health just spirals way down without just getting out, going for a ride.
True. Wherever you live in the world, it's good to get that heart rate up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So Chung and I, we were here yesterday. We read online how great your food and your beer is. We tried it all. It's really delicious. It's priced right.
Thank you.
And so, tell us what's your best selling food here, and you brew multiple beers, but what's your favorite personal beer, and when is your happy hour here?
Okay, food. My wife and I have a little bit of a competition, and we've been head to head. We've been open for about 1.5 years now, and it's pretty much right down the line. The food and the beer is about 50%, but she continues to edge me out a little bit. So we're seeing where I really didn't want to do food because I know how much of a pain in the ass it is, and we really don't have the kitchen space.
Right.
But people are really coming. We decided to get a pizza oven. The two things that were missing for me, the neighborhood pub with good beer,
Yeah.
and then good pub food. We do pizza, that's one of our best sellers, and then the quesadillas are a very big seller as well. Beer, I really like hazies. I'm into hazies.
Yeah.
But typically they're higher alcohol. So I'm really enjoying the wheat, because right now I'm drilling down on the wheat. I'm a part of a professional brewing coach that he's in Australia. He's helping me out, and we pick one beer, and for the next few months we just focus on that one beer. So right now it's wheat. Our best sellers though are hazy, brown dog, and wheat for sure.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And your happy hour?
From 4 to 6, we're half off
Wow.
every day.
Yeah, your
And
prices are already reasonable, so that's a great deal.
That's pretty uncommon in the Philippines to do a happy hour, but really in Roxas, this is a really small town. It's not as small as 15 years ago, but there has to be a way to get the people in at half price. We lose money, but it's an affordable stepping stone for people to see what we're about and have a craft beer perhaps for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eric, thanks for coming on the channel. Tell us the name of your restaurant and how you spell it. And
We are YuDi Brewing. Everything in the Philippines, if you have a business, small business, it's always named after your children.
right.
So it's half of my daughter's name and half of my son's name.
Come down to Eric's, try out his beer, and check out the food. It's all delicious. Thanks
Yeah.
again, Eric.
Yeah.
See you next
Cheers.
time we're in town.
All right. Let's have a beer.
Let's have a beer. The Google map to YuDi Brewing is the first link in the notes below this YouTube video. The second link is to my free ebook, How to Travel the World Safely, or you can watch all my videos about retiring in the Philippines right up here.